Hey guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm cutting up the Miata. Alright, now here are the panels that I cut out of the donor Miata that I had, and then I need to put back into this Miata that I've kept. So what I'm going to do is hold up the panels that I have onto the Miata, trace around them with a Sharpie, and then from there what I can do is cut on the inside edge of those lines that I trace out. That way I don't cut off too much and I have a little bit of wiggle room so I can kind of grind away and prep the metal to be welded together. Now, like I said, this is a very basic outline of what I need to cut out of this car. So I'm gonna go ahead and figure in about 1/4 of an inch on the inside of each of these lines that I've traced out from the patch panel. That way, when I go to put the panel back in, I have a little bit of room. I can cut some stuff away on the edges. Like some of these edges are really burred and nasty, and it's not gonna be great for welding. So I need some room to be able to do that. Also, to be able to fit it properly, make sure everything lines up well. It's much easier to take stuff away than it is to add stuff back in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some tools and then start cutting this panel out. Alright, well now that the panel is cut out of the car, I can show you guys exactly what they look like next to each other. So obviously you've got the panel over here that's toast, and you've got the new panel. So this one over here is significantly smaller, about 1/4 inch on every side smaller than this panel, which means when I go to place this panel onto the car, there is going to be some trimming involved. Now the reason I cut so much is because I want to be able to trim on this panel, and I want to be able to trim on the car where that panel is going to go. Now, this is going to be a little bit difficult to be able to get this panel onto the car and sitting as evenly as possible. The way I am going to tackle this task, though, is by picking one edge and sticking with that. So I'll probably pick the bottom edge, get that all shaved down and cut, so I can get the line, the body line right here, level with the body line that's still on the car. That way I know that the panel is as flat as possible. And then what I'll do is I'll shave down every other edge, and just make sure that it fits in place from there, and I won't touch the bottom again. If I start messing with each edge, it's not going to line up evenly and it's not going to sit the way it needs to. Now, one thing I'm going to do when welding this panel in, I'm going to put a thin layer of metal behind here and spot weld it into place. So I'll make sure that it's curved with the car, the body of the car, and then I'll spot weld on the outside, and then when I put the panel up on this side, I'll spot weld over here, so that way there's a piece of metal behind it, so I don't burn through the two pieces of metal right here. So that's the plan. That's what I've got left to do. Obviously a lot of work to be done, but I'm going to pick back up with you guys tomorrow and knock that out, so I will see you guys then. Alright guys, so taking a quick break, I want to show you guys what the panel looks like a little bit closer up, because I know you guys have been seeing me grind at it and adjust it, test fit it up here and everything, but I want to show you guys how close it is and what I need to do next. First glance, there's a little bit of a gap up here. There's some bigger gaps along these inner edges right here. I'm not too worried about those, and I'll explain why in a second. This needs to get trimmed down a little bit. This needs to come in ever so slightly. It's very close to where it needs to be, so I can go on to stage 2. I need to drill holes along this edge, probably on this this line that I've drawn in Sharpie. I need to do the same thing on this panel, and then I'm gonna have a piece of metal that's about that wide that's gonna bridge the gap here. It's gonna bridge the gap at the top, and just all along this panel, so that way when I go to place it up there, I have a nice firm inner edge to place the panel against, tack weld it into place, and then run a bead along all the edges to make sure that it's held on super tight and it's sealed up and good to go. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, you guys are about to see it anyways, so that should answer any questions you guys have. Okay, so taking a quick break from welding to show you guys exactly where the panel's at, so you guys can see a little bit in more detail, and I explain it so you guys understand. So the patch panel is pressed up against the plates that I just spot welded in. You've got the patch panel, the body, and then behind there is the plate. So what that does is when I press it up against here, there's absolutely no lip against these two panels. So any finishing work, like when I put body filler and then paint over that, it's not gonna be a whole lot of work. Things like this body line down here, it's not flush right now because the magnets aren't quite holding it up where it needs to go, but I promise you it is flush. When I shut the door, it looks really good. I'm very happy with it. Inside here, there's some more gaps just from where I cut the panel out. When I was cutting with the huge wheel, it takes off more material than I really should have. I was just getting a little lazy with it, to be honest, and using the wrong tool. So I had to go back in here and add some panels behind on my patch panel. So now when I go to weld across, I'll be able to run a nice bead there, and everything will kind of melt and join and be really solid and not super brittle on this thin metal. This is very thin metal. Yeah, no, I just got to fill in all these gaps around here and tack weld it into place. All right, so I'm at a stopping point now. The welding, the door jamb area is done. I've ground down some of those welds, so I'm pretty happy with how it sits now. It's still pretty ugly, but I haven't done any of the finishing work to it. I actually ran out of sanding discs for my air grinders, so I'll need to pick up more of those in order to finish the job of cleaning it up and tidying it up. I've decided to go ahead and use fiberglass reinforced body filler in the areas where the patch panel is. Met up to the body of the car. So along here, I'll be filling it in. I'll be able to block sand that out. Here, super ugly, but it's held together for the most part. Still some grinding away to do, still some finishing work to do before I can actually apply the body filler on top of it. But for now, I think that's pretty good. And it sits pretty nicely. It's better than that gaping hole that was there before. So anyways, that is going to do it for this video. That was a lot of work, and I don't know how long the video is going to be. I'm going to try and keep it short. Lots of time trying to get that done right. Never done that before, ever. And that was pretty nerve-wracking because I was at a point of no return where I had chopped all of it out and I needed to put it back, and I think it turned out okay for my first time, you know, and then I'm going to have a second chance to do it on the side skirt. So hopefully it'll be better on the second time. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this whole process and you want to see how it turns out when it's done, because I think it's going to look great, you shouldn't be able to tell. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Thank you guys so very much for watching. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you guys are not already, subscribe to the channel and click that little notification bell. That way you guys do not miss out when I upload videos. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you guys in the next one.